References for criteria and credits related to credit for supply systems are shown here. When considering water supply in a municipal setting, we need to think about four things: how much is needed, how much can be produced and distributed, how much can be obtained from the fire hydrants, and how many fire hydrants are available. In a rural setting without hydrants, we need to also consider alternate sources of supply, such as water hauling, but we'll talk more about that later. The credit that you earn will be limited by the lowest of the items shown here. The table shown on this slide depicts how PIL evaluates water supply in a hypothetical graded area. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is the applicable water system column on the far right. We see that this graded area protects some of their buildings with water hauling, some are protected using hydrants on Water District 1, and some are protected using hydrants on Water District 2. When water hauling is the method of providing water for a building, the flow rate for the shuttle is used as the main capacity, the supply capacity, and the hydrant distribution. When hydrants are used, a flow test is performed at each building being considered, and the value is used as the main capacity. The supply works capacity is the result of an evaluation of the water system being used, and the hydrant distribution credit is a result of a count of hydrants within 1,000 feet of each building. Highlighted in purple are the limiting factors for each test. Let's take a closer look now at each of these factors. First, there's the needed fire flow. PIL uses ISO's Guide to Determination of Needed Fire Flow to determine, for insurance rating purposes only, the volume of water needed to fight a large-scale fire in each building in the graded area. Calculated values range from 500 to 12,000 gallons per minute and take into consideration the area, height, construction materials, and occupancies of the building. How long the water supply needs to last is determined by the needed fire flow. ISO uses a 1-hour duration for 1 and 2 family dwellings with less than 4,800 square feet of area and 1 and 2 family dwellings with NFPA compliant sprinkler systems installed. PIL uses a distance between residences to determine their needed fire flow, and the minimum number of fire flow duration for dwellings is 2 hours. For commercial properties, the supply works capacity, which we will discuss in a few minutes, is a product of the fire flow duration, as shown here. The second area we'll discuss is main capacity. It would be easier to call this the hydrant flow rate, but it's not quite that simple. The term hydrant flow rate refers to the maximum flow available from a single fire hydrant. The main capacity flow rate is a calculation of the amount of water in the main at a 20 psi residual pressure. A main capacity flow test uses at least 2 fire hydrants to provide data for the calculation, as shown in the drawing on this table. We'll talk more about this in a presentation regarding hydrant inspection and testing. When water hauling is the method of providing water for a particular building, the demonstrated flow rate is used as the main capacity rate. The next item we'll address is supply works capacity. This value is usually a product of an evaluation of water production, consumption, storage, and distribution. But when there are emergency supplies, suction supplies, or fire department supplies, these are also taken into account. Supply works capacity is evaluated to determine how much water would be available for 2, 3, and 4-hour fire flow durations. The applicable value for each needed fire flow is applied to each building considered in PIL's grading. The final area considered is hydrant distribution. PIL will determine the number of fire hydrants within 1,000 feet of each building used in the grading as protected by hydrants, and then based on the type of hydrants that they are, a total credit for hydrant distribution is calculated. Once all of the factors have been determined, the lowest of the needed fire flow, main capacity, supply works capacity, and hydrant distribution is recognized as the credited value. This is the same data table shown earlier. To calculate credit for the supply system, The sum of the credited gallons per minute is divided by the total value of the needed fire flows. This value is then multiplied by 30. In our example, we see that the total credited gallons per minute is 18,500 and the total need is 23,500. When the calculation is done, we see that this community earns a respectable 23.87 out of the 30 points possible. In this case, the highest needed fire flow was 2,500 gallons per minute. If there had been needed fire flows that were 4,000 GPM or higher, they would not have been used in calculating the credit for the supply system. These properties are considered individually, and they do not affect the community's credits. This concludes my presentation related to credit for supply systems. As always, we at the Property Insurance Association hope this information has been useful to you. If you should have any questions about this presentation or any other rating-related topic, please do not hesitate to call. In closing, I'd like to thank you once again for your time and attention, and I hope you have a great day.